Hi, to everybody who's watching. I'm making this video because I feel like there's a lot going on in the church right now and with spiritual warfare and things that are going on that I feel like the enemy is so pissed off right now that he is trying to attack in any way that he can. He's trying to attack Christians, especially Christians that are like actually involved in spiritual warfare and want God to use them. There's like a sign on our back basically, but it's worth it because the move of God that I see happening, especially with the people, like even at my own job, like I'm getting to pray for so many people and they're like vets and they're like, just people that are broken that are coming in, and like my bosses kind of know what I'm doing. They do know, but I'm doing really, really well at my job, so like they don't really care, like they haven't said much, but I'm like every day, if I say yes to God, he does move. Like I never know what's going to happen, but he'll be like, go pray for this person, or say that, or smile, or say something nice to this person, and it starts off with a conversation or a joke or something. But I see, even in just in my own life, I've been involved in the prophetic like for years. Like even when I was in high school, when I got saved around 15, my whole life changed. Like I was so angry. You could watch my other videos for that. That's like, the beginning of Lindsay, but just I used to write like what was going on in the news in high school, and I'd be like, "Guys, you don't understand. Like this is going to happen." I was like telling these people that are like in high school about prophetic events, and they're like, "Yeah, okay." No wonder I wasn't popular. No. but I would like sit alone at the lunch table and like read my Bible, but people started being drawn to that cuz they knew I was like a real person and then I wouldn't BS them. But just right now, I'm seeing such a fight for, I think, our minds, our bodies, our spirits. Like literally we're being attacked, I feel like, with in every way we can be, finances, everything. But guess what? The good thing is that God is way more powerful than these attacks. And when we do get attacked, it's how we respond to it. And are we ready for the battle before we get attacked so that we can handle it better? Because for me, like I speak in tongues, and it's like I've noticed when I do that a lot, I'm able to conquer things like old habits or like emotions, and like I have so much growing still, but old habits, emotions, like all these different things the enemy's trying to attack. God doesn't leave us in the battle without a way to respond, to conquer. If he says like we're victors and we're victorious already, that means that no matter what, God gives us a way to overcome the enemy. When he says like resist the devil and he'll flee, like I know we probably all have problems with doing that, but when we actually do that, that sends a message to the enemy like, okay, she's growing, like okay, the same things aren't going to work. They come back stronger with other things, but the more we grow as Christians and the more we're open to what God is really doing, and I think it ultimately comes down to loving each other. Like love and forgiveness and offense and all these things have hurt us so bad because they've kept us back from our true calling for God, like what he really wants us to do. And it's powerful. And I'm noticing like, wow, God, I'm seeing an up in the power that's coming through me from you. And like things are happening faster and all this stuff, and I'm watching prophets like Kim Clement and Robin Bullock and Kat Kerr and Elijah Streams, all of them, they are into the prophetic hardcore, and I watch them, and God is showing me like the same, very, very similar, if not the same things as these prophets. And I just feel like God wants us to get into the battle, but we have to be ready. We have to like read the word every day, and we feel like, oh, well, it's just a word. Like, no, if we really knew how powerful it was, we would be reading that thing every day. We would have it memorized. How many people memorize scriptures? How many scriptures can you say, oh, this one I know, this one I know? Like, why is that? Think about that. It seems so trivial, right? Where we can remember all these books and all these things and all this information, yet it's hard for us to remember scriptures, right? It's hard for us to like even sit down and read the word. And why is that? Because the devil knows how powerful it is. And we may not be feeling it when we're doing it, but I've noticed, like, when I slip and I stop doing it as much, it seems way more hard. We're like, we feel like as if it would be us fighting alone almost, less and less from the power of God. And I just wanted to encourage everybody, there is a way, like, we can beat the enemy. We already have beat the enemy, and we just have to reach out to each other, be real with each other, say what's going on in our lives. If you have a friend that you trust, open up to them, like, even, like, or get somebody that can be your mentor, that not even like in the church, maybe, because maybe you wouldn't want to be that real with them, but get somebody that at least knows about the Bible and knows, things, spiritual warfare, because that ultimately is the only thing that will help us get crap out of our souls, help us feel powerful, help us feel like we're not going to be shy from the fight. We're not going to run away and retreat when arrows start flying around us and we're like, what? Oh, this is too uncomfortable. I got to get away. Like, no, that's the time where you need to press in. And me, I'm speaking to myself right now. This is really for me. You guys just get to listen. But seriously, like, if you really consider yourself a Christian and you really think, okay, Jesus is my savior, and you really believe it, why get saved? It's to have power in this world and have that way to help other people and actually give them the answer to what they're searching for. I just prayed for a Satanist the other day, okay? Like, pentagram, like, seriously, like, and they were broken, and they just, like, let me pray for them. Like, they didn't even give me a fight. They weren't like, man, maybe, like, nah. But how many of us are bold enough to go up to people like that? Because what are we afraid of? Are we afraid that they're gonna, like, be mean to us? What are we afraid of? We have the answer they're looking for. And God's been revealing to me so much about the church and about even portals. Like, I laugh because I used to talk to my mom like a couple years now, like, since I learned about CERN, since I learned about them opening up portals. Like, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, well, we're opening up portals and we're gonna see what comes out, but whatever. And, like, they openly admit it, and, like, no, what does the church say? What is the church doing about this? Like, when Robin and, like, even me, God's been telling me, like, showing, I know it sounds nuts, I don't even care, like, portals, like, in the spirit realm, and I'm like, this is before I even heard him talking about it, and I'm like, am I, like, half asleep, and I'm like, am I supposed to pray against that? Am I supposed to close that portal? And I saw, like, blinking in the spirit realm, like, opening, and I prayed against it, and you don't know, like, what that means. We don't know, like, what our spiritual warfare really does and looks like, because just like I heard somebody say today, in one person, there can be thousands of demons. That's how big our spirit is and how much more powerful we are, because that guy that was possessed, that had all those spirits in him, he still had enough strength to bow down to Jesus with all of those demons in him, because that's how much more powerful Jesus is than these stupid, insignificant, ultimately gone and in the lake of fire. Like, they know where they're going, and that's why they're so pissed. But we really need to just be open and be honest, and if we have questions about things, we need to ask. Like, don't be afraid. Like, find somebody that really knows about the prophetic, not just, like, reads the regular Bible in church and, like, doesn't preach on anything about Revelation, or doesn't even want to touch it like some pastors. And, like, this is not judgment. It's like, you got to get off the milk. Like, we have to. For what's coming, I feel it. I keep saying to my mom and people, there's something coming. And that is what the prophets are saying. There's something coming. And they keep talking about it, and God keeps speaking to me about it, because I am in the prophetic. Like, I am not going to call myself a prophet in any means. That's a very heavy title, and I take that very serious, and I take praying for people very serious. I am responsible. When I do that, I'm opening myself up to judgment from God if I misuse my gifts. Like, maybe that's why people are so scared to do that, because they feel like they're going to do it wrong, or like they're going to misrepresent Jesus, or, like, it's too much of a fight or whatever. Dude, it's going to be so much more worse if people are not ready than getting ready now. Just like he's been showing me about the military and about the things that you go into before you even go to the battle, where you're in like I forget what it's called, where you're going through the fight, and it's like not play, but like you're going ahead and you go through the thing, how the special ops do it. And like they always, like, even on SEAL Team, like that show, like it shows them, I'm not saying watch it, but it shows them practicing like before they do what they're supposed to be doing, and they're practicing it over and over again until they get it. Well, why don't we do that as Christians? Are we practicing, not practicing the presence of God where we just listen? Yeah, that's amazing and that's important. But then what do you do with it? Do you go out and actually use what God showed you, or do you just kind of keep it to yourself? Like when people go to church and they hear all this amazing stuff, but then they don't do anything with it, and then they come home and they fight with their family, and then like that was me, okay? Like that was definitely me. And I realized like I have to get my life right. Like if I'm going to have a ministry, if God's going to like exalt me more and more, which I feel that is, but I have to be really careful and responsible of my ministry and like what my life entails. Because if somebody goes to my family and goes, "Oh, well, how is she? What is she really like?" I don't want them seeing a horrible side of me where I don't forgive and I'm offended, and like things happened when I was younger and like, "Oh, I don't want to forgive." Like, no. Like I'm responsible first, I think, to my family and my child, and to be the right Christian in those moments and build from there. You don't have a ministry and then you're like, then get your family life right. It's like you could still have issues, but if there's major issues that you're not handling and you're just thinking, "Oh God, that's just my family life. Like I don't have to do anything about it. Like it'll just work itself out," or like nobody will really know what goes on. So do I really care? Because nobody's going to find out. God knows and you know. Even if you're by yourself, like watching porn or like, stealing from people or like whatever. And it's like there's less power because you aren't giving those things over to God. Like we're not giving those hard things that are really hard to handle to God first, so that we can get cleaned out, so that we can minister from a place of like total surrender and like, "God, whatever you want to do with me, I'll do." And we really need to be willing to do that, because what are we going to do in the end times when it says Christians are going to get their heads cut off? Like I went deep there for a second, like a little dark, but you know what I'm saying? Like how are we going to have courage then if we can't even tell people that Jesus even loves them? How are we going to be like, "Yeah, I'm willing to give up everything and not take the mark of the beast. Oh, because Jesus is strong." Like when right now we can't even, people ask us about Jesus, like, "What happened when he was on the cross?" When they asked the disciples, "Do you know him?" "I don't know him." They couldn't handle it because it was like too much. But what happened later when they repented and they got their lives right? God used them like crazy. And I've seen that. I've seen God doing that, especially just like in my own life. And I can only say I am only speaking from my own experience. I am not judging anybody. I am not saying everybody should be like me. No. Because being in the prophetic and being out there on the streets, praying for people, street ministry, all this stuff, it is not for the faint of heart. Like, you can't be like, "Okay, God, you want me to go up and pray for that person and tell them their uterus is messed up? Oh, and tell them that their family life's breaking down?" Why would he do that with me? Why would he have me say that to somebody? Oh, because he has the answers? That's why. Maybe the church doesn't feel like Jesus even will help us. If he doesn't help us, why would he help them? We have to really get our focus straight and be like, "Okay, that happened to me," and ask God to deliver us from those things. I had to do major things, like, to keep moving up. And it's like, you don't think when we're into that stuff, the devil's not going to use that as an open door? That's an open door. That's a straight up like open door for the enemy just to come in and ruin your life, And I've told people that deal with like witchcraft, that deal with like, reading horoscopes and, going to mediums. Dude, God says, do not do that. It wasn't like, well, sometimes. No, he said, don't even go there. Why? Because it's totally demonic. I can straight up say that. That is demonic. And if people don't even realize the tricks of the enemy to get us involved in this crap, like horoscopes, Christians do, oh, what sign are you? Like, why are you going towards the old witchcraft that literally is using demonic stuff? What do you think that comes from? Do you think that just comes from like, oh, this is harmless and we just want to, show this like, stuff? No, they want to lure people in a soft way and make them like fortune cookies, like Robin was saying. It's true. Fortune cookies and horoscopes and all this stuff. That is like, and then we like ask other people. People ask, oh, what's your sign? Or that's like, what? And then how do you respond to that? I'm not into that. I'm sorry, because that's demonic. Like, we have to be asking God how to even handle that when we come up against that, because we don't want to push people away. And that's what the church does. I feel like so much we push people away, and it's not because of them. It's because of us. We're pushing them away when God is strictly saying, pull them in, help them. He hung out with the worst of the worst. Why? Because he wanted to be like that? No. Because he knew he had the answers to what they were looking for to change them. Just like how we were totally messed up before Jesus got us and came to us. We're no different from any other person. No one is better than anybody. I don't care who you are in this entire world. We are all the same. And the difference is how we're handling our giftings and our talents. Just like when that guy handed out those talents, like, it was wicked for that guy to bury them. He didn't do anything with them. It's like, how dare you? I gave you these things. What did you do with them? Like, God hates that. Because why? Because he made us a certain way so that we can reach certain types of people. I've prayed for Satanists. I've prayed for people. They are just as broken as anybody else, if not more. Because now they have a total demonic stronghold in their life where it'll be harder even to, get out of that, because that's a life change. That's like your friends, what you do, your daily life, your weekly life, like who you hang out with, the stuff you watch, the clothes you wear. That's like a total change if God really starts to deliver those people. And I've seen it happen, and it's like that. I think that's what it is. It's like, why are we pushing the world away and judging them and being like, oh, you shouldn't be gay? Well, that's a whole other thing. It's like, God says it's wrong. I mean, just straight up, God says it's wrong. But we have the answers to all these things, to all the things that are hurting people, whatever it is. It could be someone dying. My friend just passed away the other day. When God delivered her from like 3 strokes, her brain was bleeding and everything, and she came back, and she ended up dying at home. When she was like, got over all that, and God delivered her from all that. The doctors were like, we don't even know how you're still alive. Like, and I know God had her come back to stay the last few months with us, to be with us at home where she wanted to be. And it was her heart. And all of a sudden, just bam, one day, it was like a little bit ago. And she was like my best friend. She was like my aunt, the first person that really died in my life. And I'm like, okay, God, how do I handle this? How do I talk to the people that were her family and like just be there for them? Those are the moments where we have to have power from God, because if we don't have the power to deal with that stuff, and that's like super personal in our own lives, how do we expect to have ministries or be used by God in the best way he can and the way he wants if we can't even handle like things in our own lives? He's not going to give us, power over these situations when there's a huge open door for us from the enemy, And even like with the military stuff, God's been like equating so much. It's so funny because I'm watching prophets like Amanda Grace and all this stuff, and the military and like the way that God is showing them about the military and about the church and all this stuff. That's what he's been having me write down and do and work on, I guess, a book. I don't know. He's going to have to help me with that, because I'm like, I don't know what to do. But no, it's like he's gearing up. He's gearing up for what's coming, and like whatever it is, we need to be ready for it, because if we're not, I think we will get pulled pulled away from Jesus by circumstances, things we see with our eyes, alien stuff. Like, oh, does the church have answers for that? Like, what do we say? I know what they are. They're demonic. And they're just straight up. And the top ufologists and everybody, like, oh yeah, they have the appearance of demons and they lie about who they are. And, they do horrible, experiments on people. And, oh yeah, they're taking sperm and egg. Like, they're admitting now, like, openly that, yeah, there's major pregnancies happening when people are getting abducted. And what does the church say about that? We have to know what's going on. We have the whole blueprint. If we want it, God can give us the whole blueprint before our eyes and the battle plan of the enemy. If we're looking and we're wanting to know, he'll tell us. He won't withhold what's going on from us. We're his children and he loves us. So I just, want to encourage people. Be real with the people around you. Find a good person that you can open up to, that you can trust. And if want to leave a comment or whatever, maybe I have resources, but ultimately I just wanted to encourage the Christians, like, if you see things blowing up around you and you don't know what's going on, we are in this crazy weird time where the enemy is coming out all guns blazing. He doesn't fight fair. God told me, the Holy Spirit goes, the enemy doesn't fight fair. He uses street rules. There are no rules. Like, he uses every chance and weakness against us. And it's like, well, why does the enemy seem to be winning? And like, are we doing anything to like get more power and like ask God to use us more and fight the enemy? Or are we running away? Are we being like the National Guard where it's like one weekend a month as a Christian and it's like, oh yeah, all this stuff? It's like, no, it's not just one weekend a month. Are you fully in or are you fully out? You can't be part in, because God even says, like, don't be lukewarm. That's disgusting. So you can be fully in and still have things you need to handle. Of course, we'll always have things. We'll always be growing. But don't be embarrassed to pour your heart out to God first and be like, God, I'm going to be real with you. I need help with this. And be real with yourself and be real with God, or the enemy is just going to play you like a rag doll. And I don't want to see that for anybody. I don't want to see that for myself, and I don't want to see that for my family, and I don't want to see that for my nieces and nephews and extended family and everybody. I love everybody, and I want the world to see how amazing Jesus really is. He is the answer for all of this stuff and all the political upheaval and everything. I'm not even talking about that right now, but we have the answers, and no matter what we see going on, he is the answer, and he will smooth out our way, and he will walk ahead of us and prepare a place ahead of us so we can walk in his steps behind him as he shelters us from the arrows, gave us the equipment, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the sword of the Spirit, the shield of faith, the shoes of the gospel of peace, the belt of truth. I was like, is there another one? But yeah, like those things. And if he says put them on, you put them on every morning. Like, I need to do that too. And we think it's like a joke or not as powerful because like it sounds weird or whatever. But that is how the Spirit works. If he's telling us a way, that's a key. That's a key for us to win in battle in that way and have those weapons, because we have the shield. Well, what does the shield do? It protects us. It goes ahead of us. If we have it already, we don't need it. We have it. So we have everything we need right in our hands. Once we accept Jesus, that's it. We have those. Those are our promised weapons. And the word, sword of the Spirit, is the word of God. And we need to use that in the way that it was always meant to be used. So I hope this encouraged somebody. And thank you guys. And I really am. I'm praying for each subscriber and the YouTube community and everything that's going on. And I just hope that this reaches somebody, touches them. God bless you guys.